Dear friend, amidst economic news filled with the gloom of inflation and crises, you still see young people around you constantly throwing money at luxury goods, expensive trips, or fancy restaurant meals. You feel like they are living a carefree life, beating the system, and enjoying their youth despite the storms out there. But the truth is, you have just witnessed one of the most cruel and tragic psychological syndromes of modern capitalism. They are absolutely not winning. They have just manually burned the last bricks that could build their own future. And they smiled as they paid to buy an anesthetic for their despair. This extravagant spending behavior is defined by the financial world and psychologists with an incredibly haunting term: doom spending. This is not a momentary impulsiveness of youth, nor is it the consequence of a lack of basic financial management education. It is a biological defense mechanism of humans when backed into a corner with no way out. When traditional milestones of success such as buying a house, having children, or a comfortable retirement become distant, unreachable illusions, the human brain automatically gives up pursuing them. Instead of meaninglessly pinching pennies for an uncertain future, people decide to buy short-term joys right in the present to soothe their own pain. Look at the cold mathematical numbers that are suffocating the younger generation in the year 2026. The price of a basic house in urban areas has escalated to hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, while starting salaries have almost remained stagnant. If a young person cuts back on all pleasures and saves $500 a month, it will take them decades just to gather enough for a down payment on a shabby apartment. But over that decade, the value of that real estate will continue to skyrocket by hundreds of thousands of dollars, turning all saving efforts into a bitter joke. Upon realizing that their savings rate can never catch up with the money printing speed of central banks, financial discipline immediately collapses. They fall into a dangerous psychological state called financial nihilism. This is when people completely lose faith in traditional economic laws, where hard work and saving were once promised to bring worthy rewards. When this social contract is unilaterally torn up by the system, young people feel they are playing a rigged game. They wonder why they should refuse a $7 coffee or a $2,000 handbag, when refraining from spending that money still cannot help them buy even a single brick to build a house. This surrender frees them from the pressure of having to succeed, but simultaneously pushes them into a consumer trap 100 times more cruel. Multinational corporations and massive marketing machines sniffed out this despair very early on. They do not want to heal your pain at all, they just want to make money from that very deadlock. The entire retail industry has been restructured to cater to the doom spending syndrome. They launch countless products positioned as affordable luxury, small items that carry the illusion of high class. It could be a $50 designer lipstick, an expensive designer perfume, or a sparkling candlelit dinner at a 5-star restaurant. You cannot buy a truly wealthy life, but the system allows you to buy fragments of that wealth, so you can temporarily forget your own impoverished reality. The act of swiping a credit card to shop under stress brings a massive rush of dopamine, pumped directly into the central nervous system. It creates a wonderful illusion of control and power. Even though you cannot control inflation, cannot control real estate prices, and cannot be certain about your job tomorrow, right at the moment you stand at the checkout counter, you have the power to decide to buy that item. You use the act of shopping as an affirmation of your existence and self-worth amidst a crumbling world. But that rush of euphoria only lasts for a few hours. When the item is brought home and the wrapping paper is torn off, the emptiness immediately returns, demanding that you continue a new shopping cycle to maintain the feeling of existence. The spread of this doom spending disease is amplified thousands of times thanks to the brutal algorithms of social media. Every day, when you open your phone, you are bombarded with flashy images of vacations on tropical islands, lavish parties, and expensive fashion collections. The algorithm never shows you the overdue credit card bills, or the sleepless nights worrying about rent of those influencers. It only continuously injects a delusional standard of living into your head, making you feel like you are falling behind and failing miserably. To soothe that invisible humiliation, you continue to dive into shopping apps, ordering items beyond your affordability, just to maintain a perfect facade in cyberspace, and to ensure that you can spend money even when your bank account is depleted. The financial system has prepared a velvet-covered guillotine blade called Buy Now, Pay Later. These microcredit platforms appear at every checkout step, gently offering to split your bill into seemingly harmless installments. They shatter the final psychological barrier, eliminating the pain of having to part with a large sum of money. You close your eyes and click the confirm button, deluding yourself that you will easily pay them off in the next few weeks. But when countless of those small installments add up, they turn into a massive debt bomb, crushing all your future cash flow. You are not only burning the money of the present, you are selling out your labor vitality for many months to come. There is a cold truth that financial education programs never tell you. That is, the entire current macroeconomic system is actually living parasitically on your very despair and doom spending habits. If all young people suddenly wake up, stop throwing money at frivolous things, and start hoarding cash, the consumer economy will immediately collapse. Revenue reports will plummet, the stock market will crash, and corporations will face the risk of bankruptcy. This economy is not designed for you to save and become independent. It is lubricated and operated by the very credit blood and frantic shopping of people seeking a psychological escape. Your despair is exactly the fuel for the capitalist machine to keep running. The elite never want you to own income-generating assets like land, shares, or means of production. They want you forever trapped in the consumer vortex, trading grueling hours of labor for depreciating liabilities the moment they leave the store. Every time you decide to buy a designer item to relieve stress, you are executing an incredibly perfect wealth transfer act. You take your sweat and tears, voluntarily surrendering them to billionaires who already possess massive fortunes. You strip yourself of your only defensive weapon, which is capital, and obediently put on your neck the shackles of a lifelong wage earner. They lull you to sleep with philosophies of living to enjoy the present, advising you to love yourself with material gifts, because this life is too fragile. They brainwash you with the message that owning a home or achieving financial freedom is an outdated illusion, and you should be content with renting everything. That is not sympathy for the younger generation. It is a psychological warfare campaign meticulously designed to destroy the upward will of an entire class. When you give up building a wealth foundation for the future, you have officially surrendered to the system. You become a fixed harvesting source, an obedient energy battery, never capable of threatening the dominant position of those who set the rules. Recognizing the doom spending trap is not meant to criticize the weakness of any individual. It is a painful surgery to expose the tumors that are eroding our willpower. As long as you let macroeconomic anxieties control your consumer behavior, you will forever be its victim. Inflation may erode the purchasing power of money, but the habit of doom spending will erode your entire future and dignity. Never confuse enjoying life with financial suicide. Luxury items will never be able to fill the emptiness in your soul. They only dig deeper the pit of debt you are standing on the edge of. The truest and most ruthless resistance in this era does not lie in holding up banners or screaming on social media. The most powerful resistance is the cold refusal to participate in the consumer card game set up by the system. It is the ability to hold tightly onto every cent of capital in your hands, silently accumulating and converting them into assets that cannot be diluted. When you stop throwing money to relieve stress, you begin to accumulate the power of autonomy. You must train yourself to have an iron discipline, an absolute stillness in the face of the flashy invitations of advertising campaigns. Only when you stop burning money for short-term illusions will you have the opportunity to manually forge the key to throw open the door of the financial prison. This life is a battlefield without compassion, where the weak will always be squeezed dry to serve the luxury of the strong. Your giving up and choosing to live day by day with depreciating items does not make you freer. It only makes you the easiest prey in the eyes of economic corporations. Stand up and look straight into this cruel reality. Money is not just a medium of exchange, it is vitality, living time, and the power to determine your own fate. Hold on to that power at all costs. Never sell out your future just to exchange for an anesthetic named doomspending. The entire autopsy you have just followed is based completely on historical data and sociological observations for purely educational purposes. Please note that this content is not financial advice or a personal investment guide. Every financial position is a unique story with different variables. Therefore, consulting with qualified professionals is a necessary step before you make any decisions related to your assets. If you do not want to wait until the decline becomes irreversible to start being aware, please subscribe to the channel and join us as we continue to dissect the hidden corners of the system in the following content. Wishing you always maintain your sanity and peace amidst a world full of volatility.